Okay, here we go. All right, YouTube has spoken. They want to see more video on the recumbent rail car. Okay, so basically it's a pedal car. It started out as a Schwinn bicycle, and we basically added some other components to it to make it a pedal rail car. So we'll go into some details so you can see what we had to work with, what we started with. Over here is in the scrap pile is what you see is left of the Schwinn bike that was the donor, and that gave us the pedals, the main crank, part of the chain, and we did have to add some chain, and the frame piece. And you'll see that frame piece we cut. It was a girl's bike, and I don't know if that would matter with these pieces or not. And then there was holes in here. I welded this piece in here. I welded these shut to make a solid tube, so you know, it looked good. And then welded these flat pieces on there and on there. I think it looks too bad. That's flux core, by the way. Big fan of that's 30 thousandths flux core on a 110 old Lincoln 110 welder, and I just love welding with that stuff. It's outdoor. It's good outdoors. It just works. It really works well once you can learn how to control the heat, because it is hot. It's a reverse polarity to normal MIG, because it's not even a MIG process at all. It's basically like welding. It's stick. It's like stick welding, but I digress. Okay, so we got our, this worked out real well. Was able to put the, the handlebars on. We just were trying to figure out how to ride it. Evan was on it, riding it, and he felt, you had to pull too. And we actually heard this from a bike shop, who was actually the donor of the bike, Evansburg Bicycle. Thank you. He said you're going to need, I think he called them bull horns, to hold on to when you pedal, because otherwise it's going to hurt your back. So we have that. We got the boat seat from YouTube. I think that's a 1/2-inch plywood. I think it's a 7 core plywood is the piece I had laying around. So that's that part of it. Okay, what I'll do is I'm going to pause the video, and then we'll flip it over and do a little more detail on it. There, oh, you'll see there's the trucks. That's a Andrews truck casting. There and there. See the difference in the springs too. Point that out. I have 2 springs on the front. I'm running the full 4 springs on the back. It's because your weight's more to the back and the front floats more. When he's pedaling with it, you'll actually see that bolster really float. It's really interesting. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and then we'll look at the bottom. Okay, we put the thing up on its side, and here's the seat. Basically, that's just some pipe, 1/2-inch pipe. Put a bottom on him, and then drilled through for the screws that are part of the standard boat seat, and just slapped some long cotter keys in there. That's going to be, we'll come up with something a little bit better for that, but that's just to get it on the road that night that we were doing it. But I'll just give you a quick overview of what we have here. I believe this is in the back. We'll start with the back truck. You'll see here is the chain, the 2 sprockets. So what we're doing is mounting. Let's see what you got under there. Come in closer. Yeah, I think that's a 13 tooth sprocket on the back. And it escapes me what size sprocket this is on the front. I think it's a 30. believe that big one's a 30. And that's number 40 chain. So that's a 1/2 inch pitch. I believe that's what they say. That's the same as bike chain, actually. The distance between the pins. Other than that, it's wider, and it's I believe it's the rollers are heavier. But that's what we had, so that's what we used. That is a 3-speed hub. I think they say, is it Shimano? Is that how you say it? Shimano? I don't know. Now we don't have the pin in it. You'll see the hole at the end. Right there, that's the hole. Looking right down the hole. There's a pin that goes in there, and then there's a 3-speed, it's like a bell crank. You apply tension to the bell crank. So right now it's in 3rd gear, which is actually like 1 to 1.5. It's a step up. And then when you push the pin the whole way in to the bottom, it actually makes it 1.5 to 1. And then if it's in the middle, it's a 1 to 1. But it also, this is, as opposed to the British one that's a 3-speed, this one has coaster brake. So you pedal backwards and you get the brake. So that the bike shop gave us that hub too. So I machined the hub down. You can see where the sprocket, or where the spokes are on there, where the spokes would have went. I machined the spoke side off on the other end. There's a piece of tubing. Might have to flip this over the other way. Why don't we pause the video and flip it the other direction? All right, so here you go. This is the 3-speed hub, the other side. And there's where the chain comes down through from the top. And then we have that. So I took the gear and I welded it on to a piece of tubing. Now the tubing wasn't large enough. Or I should say the tubing was too large, the inner diameter of it. It's a piece of Schedule 40 pipe. I actually bought a nipple over it, Lowe's it, and it just fit, but it was too loose to fit snugly on the outer diameter of the Shimano hub. So took that and basically put a bead of weld in the inside, about a 1/2 inch in, or maybe not quite a 1/2 inch in, around the inner circumference of that tube, and then machined it as a slip fit over the hub, and then put 2 set screws in to hold it on. I did dimple the hub for the set screws. There's no fancy keyway or anything in there because, here again, I don't know. I guess I could have got into that stuff, but I didn't know how thick that was going to be, so I just put a little dimples in, and it seems to be hold. Of course, there's Loctite holding the set screws in, but that's about it. Ran into some bolster issues here. We cut the bolster out. As you'll see here, here's the end of the bolster here, cast iron. Ran into here, cut it off, and then we tried one piece of box tube, and we thought we had it high enough, but you see the chain just touched it. So we went another level, just layered it on, cut the middle back out again, and we came up. It seems okay. Seems okay, and they got a matching box tubing on the top side with a pin. I could probably come up here and show you that a little closer. Here's how we're doing that. It's pretty straightforward, actually. So that's it. Now this could use a little bit cleaned up, I think. This, I think if I'd do a few more things, maybe I'd round this a little bit here. I don't know what to do with that. That's fine, I guess. And just for derailing, I don't know. I just didn't know if that would go into the ground, but probably gonna land on the chain before it does anything. So, okay. Any other questions? I can forward them on. These trucks go way back. I didn't want to use these. I was going to actually use a set of Odd Duck Foundry trucks I have out of aluminum, but I didn't get time to machine them up. And so by the time that we were ready to needed trucks, we had these in there and just tore them apart and Use them. Did have some trouble on the back. Ended up making a brand new axle, because the normal freight, as a freight car truck, was just using, basically the wheels are just pressed on. You know, it's a slip fit, and then they put them on with Loctite and have no trouble. But that torque that puts on there when you go to pedal was wreaking havoc on it. So it broke free twice. Finally I just said, you know, I'm going to make a new shaft. So machined up a new shaft. It's fully keywayed for everything on there. And then we use a nut. I made a nut at the end. I don't know if you can see it in there. Might be able to. It's in there, right in here. It's a nut. It's threaded for 5/8 fine thread, and that holds the wheel on. So we'll see how that holds up. Interesting. That so far so good. Okay, any questions? Let me know. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Here we go. Okay, the track work here is, and this is our temp track that we have outside. We got a spring switch here. Works pretty well. The spring on the side, we just never really finished this off the right way. But there you go. You'll see that front floating. I don't know if you can see it or not, but probably hard to see on the vid. But yeah, it works pretty well. Up around. Track here is there's 800 feet of track, but we do the double dog. I don't know what they call this. Is it dog bone? I think it's dog bone because of the a loop out front of the house on that side, and a loop over here on the other side. So yeah, that's it. Let's see here. We got. He goes out front. Should be ripping it around here, coming back. Makes a 1/4 mile run though, because you run over this twice, which isn't bad. There's an 18-foot radius out front, 24 foot radius out here. So yeah, it's not bad. Okay, I think we have everything we need here. Any other questions? Let me know. Thank you.